Alright guys, what's going on? Welcome back. It is episode number 7 of the Newcastle United career mode, and heading into today's episode, 7 games to go in the Premier League. We are still in the race for that Premier League title, and we're still in the race for the double as well. 7 games remaining. We've got a game in hand on the teams above us right now, and that game in hand will come straight away today as took on David Moyes' West Ham United, last year's Europa Conference League winners, knowing if we are to win all of our remaining 7 games, we will be Premier League champions. But that is, of course, easier said than done. So heading into the episode opener, taking on West Ham. Looking to get that first of 7 wins here against David Moyes' side. Perfect start. 13 minutes in, it is 12 for the year. Alan Saint-Maximin gives us the opening goal. We lead by 1. And then 25 minutes in, I love 5-star skillers. I don't skill as much as I used to, but you can just do such cool things with players with great balance, agility, dribbling, ball control, and of course the 5-star skills as well. That flick to beat his man on that left-hand side there, and eventually worked into the middle, and Bruno Guimaraes wraps the move off. Newcastle 2, West Ham 0, and 6 minutes after the restart, Isak almost made it free. Yep, I was in complete control in the episode opener here against West Ham. The woodwork rattled there as we still led by 2, but it felt at that point so the 3 points were already in the bag. I was in control. It was just a case of how many more goals I would score. West Ham, however, finally found their feet soon after I hit the woodwork. It almost kind of woke them up, if you will. Gianluca Scamacca, the Italian, makes it 2-1. And out of nowhere, the Irons are back in the game, and our lead is cut to 1. And just 15 minutes later, our lead had gone. Yep, the Italian giant with a brace. Newcastle 2, West Ham 2, and I bottled it. A brace for Scamacca in 15 minutes, and I bottled it. From 2-0 up, in control, to 2-2. And that means, as you can see, 6 games to go now. We still have a game in hand on the teams above us, including Chelsea, who lead the way with 80 points. We're 6 points behind, but we can still win the title with 6 wins out of 6. And I hear you ask, well, how is that possible, Doxy Boy? It's because we've got Chelsea in that final run-in. So if we were to win this game in hand against Brentford, cut it to 3, and then beat Chelsea and win the remaining 4, we would still be Premier League champions. So big slip up there at home to West Ham from a 2-0 lead. But I can't afford any more if we're to be Premier League champions, no doubt about that. So following game, looking to make amends. Thomas Frank's side, Brentford, coming to St James's. And we fell behind straight away. Yep, absolutely awful start, although Isak would get us back on level terms soon afterwards. But my defence in the first half was just absolutely shocking. There was always a free man. And I often say this, but like, rebound goals in FIFA are so frustrating. I don't know whether it's just me, but it always seems to feel like rebound goals. Like, I tend to concede a lot more than I score. Let's just say that. Yeah, ball hits the woodwork, and then Whistler converts with the open goal, makes it 2-1. And thankfully, right from kickoff, we were back on level terms for a second time. I was like, no way. Like, I'm not losing this game to a rebound goal. Alexander Isak says, don't worry, Doxy boy, I'll get us back on level terms. Which he does. It is 2-2. We find our leveller. And to be fair, in a really hotly contested second half, Brentford went down to 10 men through this cynical challenge from Roberto Soriano. Don't know what he was doing there. And that gave us a man advantage for the final 28 minutes. And with that being the case, I was able to run rampant in the final 28 minutes. How it was still 2-2 at this point, I really don't know. I had some great chances. I missed some great chances. But in the end, I got one really good one late on. For the former Toffee, Anthony Gordon going through 1-on-1. Rounds the goalkeeper, pops it into the open goal. And then late on in the game, Brentford. When you've got a man advantage, you can afford to play a really high, intense press. Because you know you'll have that man advantage to cover for you. And in the end, that is how we got our 4th goal. Right from kickoff, Brentford give it away for a high press. Quick ball into Anthony Gordon with the cutback from the goalkeeper. And I just dribbled in to the open goal. Final score at St James is 4-2. And when you talk about a player costing his team a game, yeah, Soriano will be the most unpopular man in that Brentford dressing room at full time, no doubt about it, man. What was he doing? Cynical challenge by our own corner flag. Awful, but in the end, that's how we got to win by 4 goals to 2. No way we would have won that game. How we not had that man advantage to the final 28 minutes or so. Still, following game, FA Cup semi-final. You got the Magpies back at Wembley after their EFL Cup final loss to the Red Devils last season. We take on the Championship side, Norwich City. You got 2 Championship sides making the semi-finals. Norwich and Watford taking on us and Wolves respectively. Us and Wolves, clear favourites to make it to the FA Cup final. The question was, after a little bit of a shaky couple of games, could we deliver on the big stage at Wembley? Well, 15 minutes in, it looked as though that would be the case. Bruno Guimaraes opens the scoring. He's been big for me this year as he makes it 1-0. And in 5 minutes after the restart here, aiming to get an opportunity and an opening to get ourselves 2 goals up before the break. Norwich clear away this cross, but St Maximin wins the header. Guimaraes takes a touch. And I'll be honest here, this felt a bit like Agent Tim Krul. Yep, ex-Newcastle keeper. Newcastle Academy graduate, lest we forget. Tim Krul. I think he's playing for a Newcastle move in the summer to help us with those squad registration rules. It's a good strike by Guimaraes, don't get me wrong, but it shouldn't have found the back of the net. Yep, the Dutch goalkeeper gets nowhere near it. Really poor goalkeeping in my book. It is 2-0, and then later on in the game, with the game basically over at this point, we've got our third goal. Murphy, ex-Norwich man, of course, down left-hand side, rolls it across, and Joel Linton converts from 2 yards out. So our Brazilian midfielders with the goals. Newcastle 3, Norwich 0. And to be fair, it's kind of what we expected. Yep, Norwich and Watford give the Canaries and the Hornets some credit. They both made the semis, 2 championship sides, but everyone was expecting when the ties were drawn, us and Wolves will meet in the final. That is the case. We'll be back at Wembley, and we will indeed take on Wolverhampton Wanderers, with both teams desperate for that first major honour in such a long time. So, yep, 3-0 the final score. Wolves' 2-0 win sees Newcastle meet Wolves in that FA Cup final. So back in the domestic cup final for the second year in a row. Hopefully this year we'll be able to go one step further and leave with the silverware. So following game, and now the double is still on. We know, win our remaining 5 games, we're Premier League champions. Following game, big one. Unai Emery's Aston Villa. What a job he did last year with Aston Villa, getting them into Europe after taking over from Steven Gerrard. Fantastic appointment and a fantastic turnaround after a tough start to the season. Taking on Emery's side away at Villa Park, a ground I often struggle at. Almost went behind in the first half and would have went rattling, but in the restart, 6 minutes into the second half, St Maximin gets his 13th of the year. He's been so good for me this year as he makes it 1-0, and there were 5 minutes to go, aiming to close out the game. Isak gets away from his man, one-on-one with Emi Martinez, rounds the Argentine and pops it into the open goal. Runs to the away fans to celebrate the dagger. 2-0 Newcastle, 3 points on the board as we go for the double. And the crowd go mild. What is that? What is that? If that's how you're going to celebrate the first of 5 wins we need to win the title, I don't want you coming to any more away days. What was that? Sorry, first of 5 wins. That was absolutely terrible, man. Just awful, awful. No sort of celebrations whatsoever. Because we knew, heading into the following game, Chelsea, 4 games to go, 6 points behind. With a game in hand, if we were to win this, we'd cut it to 3. And because the goal difference is so tight, realistically, 3 more wins and we can be champions. Biggest league game in a long time for Newcastle United as we take on the Blues in the North East, knowing that this could be the first of the 4 that could see us crowned champions. Heading into the game, Chelsea knew if they were to win, they would surely win the title. So both teams going for the win and not settling for the point. Starting the game off, Pochettino's side showing why they're leading the way right now. Kai Havertz going close early, great save by Nick Pope, and then soon afterwards, once again, my shot stopper called into action to deny the Atletico loanee João Felix. It's still 0-0, and I'd really stumbled out of the blocks in the first half. Poor start from me, I'll be honest here. It felt like my players were stuck in the mud a little bit, wasn't getting many chances, and I knew at some point Nick Pope wouldn't be able to bail me out again. Soon after the restart, the Italian, Chelsea's top scorer this year, Domenico Berardi, gives Chelsea the deserved lead. I'd had a tough start, I hadn't really had any chances, and with a minute to go, my Premier League dreams were on the line. I needed to find at least a leveller, and Edouard Mendy, with a massive save on trips, keeps it at 1-0. But from the corner, Kieran whips it in. It's up in the air. And oh, Sandro Tonali. What was that? Hasn't scored a goal all season long. And that is why our big summer move, Sandro Tonali, with a free header at the far post. And I remember when it went straight to Mendy there, I remember my reaction. I was like, what? Why was that so tame? I pressed the circle button, but it wasn't like a Lee Carvalho feather touch. It was a normal circle going for the header, and he just got nothing on it whatsoever. And that would mean it's basically over. Chelsea now go 9 points clear. We still got the game in hand, and technically, if you want to play devil's advocate, we could win the championship with 3 wins out of 3 and Chelsea losing back-to-back, but realistically, the chance of that happening is about as likely as me dating Ice Spice. It's not going to happen, let's be honest here. So yeah, final game today, Fulham, first to final 3. We will fight until the end because it is the Newcastle way. But Pochettino's side getting the big win in the North East has probably now wrapped up Chelsea's first Premier League title since 2017. Final game, Fulham away at the Cottage in midweek, right before our FA Cup final against Wolves. So I had a mixture of starters and bench players out there for this one. So I want everyone fit to play in the game on the weekend against Wolves at Wembley in the FA Cup final, knowing now that our double dreams have all but gone. We still want to win that first major honour since 1955. Callum Wilson got his 4th goal of the season in the league to open the scoring and make it 1-0, though Fulham would respond soon afterwards, 25 minutes in. But it was a really open game though, and unlike the Chelsea game, I was carving Fulham open here. Yeah, no problems against this West London side getting attacks. Callum Wilson was causing so many problems that Fulham back line. Issa Diop had absolutely no clue on how to handle it. Wilson constantly bamboozling the French centre-half. We led by 2-1. Wilson, with his second, makes it 2-1, and then 7 minutes after the restart here, looking to make it 3-1, get ourselves a 2-goal cushion. Anthony Gordon whips in across into the back stick, and it's big Dan Burn wearing the armband for this game here, heading it past Bernd Leno and beating the German for our third. Yep, Fulham 1, Newcastle 3, and at this point I felt confident we'd see the game out and get the 3 points. We need to have any slim possible chance of winning the title. Yep, 3-1, and late on, with 28 minutes to go, 28 minutes to go here, a chance to make it 4 and wrap the points up, at least keep the pressure on Chelsea, we'd do so. Anthony Gordon, the former Toffee, with a glorious chip over the ex-Arsenal goalkeeper, makes it 4. So we've done our job. We've kept ourselves mathematically in the hunt with 2 games to go. We cut the gap on the league leaders Chelsea to 6, but realistically, any chance of us winning the title has basically gone. We'll fight till the end, but we know now the double dreams are looking nothing other than that, really, just a dream. But at least we know that win is guaranteed. We have guaranteed a Champions League place. You can't finish any lower than 4th with 2 games to go. The question is, can we pull off an absolute miracle and win the Premier League with 2 games to go? Guys, thank you for watching the penultimate episode of season 1. If you've enjoyed it, then please drop a like. You'll have a fantastic day, and I'll see you for the season finale, where we still have a technical chance of going for the double, as we'll play our final 2 Premier League games at home to Arsenal and Man City away. But of course, the big one, the FA Cup final against Wolves, going for our first major honour since 1955. Thanks for watching, much love, and I'll see you for the season finale very soon.